Welcome everyone who joined. I'm Andrei Shorman, and we are presenting together with Barry Rosen the third webinar in the series about AI. We covered, the first webinar was about general understanding of what AI is and can do. The second was mostly about productivity enhancements with Copilot and a little bit about ChatGPT. And this one is going to be about agentic AI and the AI-driven leader. So we want to try to expand on what AI can actually do for you and for your organizations. And Barry will be presenting the first part about agentic AI, and I will talk about the second part. So we want to start. Barry, please, I guess, start your deck and let's rock and roll.
All right. Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
And you can see my screen?
Yep.
All right. Well, here we go. All right. So today, what we're going to talk about is agentic AI. And this is kind of the 101. This is an introduction to what is agentic AI and what does it really mean for your business and how can you put it to work for your business as well. All right, so there might be some times where you might need to get your phone out. If you see a QR code, what that means is it's either a link to something or a free download. So just be prepared for that. The next slide will have some QR codes on that. That's my LinkedIn and that is my webpage. Just really quickly, high level introduction about myself. I have been doing digital marketing for the last couple of years, and my background is I came from the enterprise world. I worked at IBM for over 20 years. The last 10, I was a global director of product management and managed a global team and was in charge of a $400 million portfolio, the vision, the strategy, interacting with customers. And now I'm taking that and all of that experience and bringing it to the small and medium businesses so that, you can grow your business. I'm basically like a business consultant, and my toolkit just happens to be digital marketing. So I help your business grow. And depending on what your goals are, what your budget is, and what your timeline is, that will depend on how we do it. But, we're all about strategy, and then we can determine the tactics once we figure out what outcome you're trying to achieve. So WSI, this is the company that I'm with, has been around for over 30 years. They were actually around before Google, and WSI stands for We Sell Internet. They started by building simple web pages and have really grown into the entire digital marketing suite. And now the last couple of years, really leaning heavily into AI, not only using AI internally for our processes, not that we're using AI to create content for our customers, but we use AI to expedite tasks and reduce the time that it takes for us to do things so that we can spend time thinking about strategy and working with our customers, and then also offering AI strategy and services as well. And why do we do this? Because at the core, not only is WSI, but myself, we're about helping others because we believe that every business has untapped potential, and our job is to help you find it. So today, what are we going to cover? We're going to talk about agentic AI. What is it? Why you should not ignore it. And then I'm going to give a very specific example from a study from a small little company called Microsoft. So I think they kind of know what they're talking about, that will kind of really highlight why we're even talking about this. And then we'll talk about how does it work. We'll give some real world examples and use cases. We'll help you get started, and then we'll talk about the future and next steps. And then we'll have some time for Q&A after Andrei's section as well. So the first thing that we'll talk about is what is agentic AI? So today we have traditional AI, which is predictive text. So this is chatbots, analytics. And then we have generative AI. So this is AI that creates content, ideas, or insights. So some examples of this are video content creation, text to image creation, or even just ChatGPT, where you're asking it to review a set of data and then provide insights as well. So then what is next on top of that? That is where we get into agentic AI. And this is essentially when AI is going to go out and act independently towards the goals that you set for it. So think about ChatGPT as maybe your intern that does research for you. Agentic AI is your operations assistant, is the operations assistant that manages the intern and then goes and makes sure that things are getting done and then working towards those goals autonomously. And that could be anything from, say, booking an airline ticket on your behalf to performing complex tasks or things that need to be done. So, what exactly is agentic AI? So agentic AI are systems that can perceive, reason, plan, and act autonomously towards achieving business direct objectives. So they don't just respond to and wait for an input, they actually take initiative. So as I said, an AI that books appointment automatically or books an airline. Let's say, in the future, you're searching for an item and you want to wait for it to go on sale. You can create an agentic AI agent that would search for that item, and then you could tell it the price threshold that you're willing to accept. And then when the price threshold hits that milestone or that key point, then it would purchase that for you on your behalf, and you would not have to manage that. It would automatically do that. And once it's achieved, it would let you know, all right, the purchase has been made at the price point that you set. Here you go. The other thing that you can do is AI that manages ad campaigns based on performance, or AI that creates and updates contents or reports without being told. So something that's real time. You're creating a real time dashboard, and you're giving it the parameters, and it's acting on your behalf and doing that for you going forward. How does it work? So this is a very simplified and high level kind of loop. This is kind of the agentic AI loop. So the first thing that it will do is perceive. So it's going to gather real-time data, and the source could be from email, your CRM system, your web. Then it's going to interpret that data and the context of the data. So at this first part, this is kind of very similar to what ChatGPT is doing, because you're giving it the data, then it's going to reason, interpret the data and the context of that data. Then what's different is that this is going to be able to decide what to do next. It's going to be able to plan on its own. And then finally, it's going to be able to act. And that's the key difference between a chat GPT or an LLM and an agentic AI, is the ability for the agentic AI to go out and execute autonomously. So, and then it will do this until the goal is achieved. So it doesn't stop until the ultimate goal is achieved. So if it's send one email, great. But if it's send a string of emails or send an email, then reply, then send and reply, it's going to do that. And in the process, it's going to learn as well and optimize over time itself. So why is this important to you? Why does this even matter? Why are we even talking about this with you today? Well, the reason is Microsoft has told us that, they have a vision for the organization of the future. And so your team is about to get an AI coworker. And what this is going to do, just like today, where in a traditional organization, you might have a structure where, as when I was in IBM as a director, I had people that reported to me. I assigned them tasks. They went off and performed those tasks. Then they came back to me and reported the outputs of those tasks. And then I would flow that up and make decisions based on that data and those outputs and flow that up above to my supervisors as well. Well, you're going to have an AI agent that's going to be able to do that for you for those repetitive tasks. So you will have a team of agents, and this will be something that will be able to happen 24/7. So what Microsoft is calling this is the frontier firm, and we're already seeing this taking shape. And so within the next 2 to 5 years, every organization will be on their journey to becoming a frontier firm. 82% of leaders say that this is the pivotal year that they're going to rethink the key aspects of their strategy and operations. And 80% say they expect agents to be moderately or extensively integrated into their company's AI strategy in the next year to 18 months. So we're looking at, into 2026 and in early 2027. What we're also seeing is that adoption is accelerating. So 24% of leaders say that their companies have already adopted and deployed AI organization-wide, while 12% are still in pilot mode. So what does this look like visually? So as we said, we're currently in phase one. We are the human with the assistant. So we have an AI assistant. It helps us work faster and smarter. That's what the LLMs are doing. I have I use it for sales. I ask, to evaluate my sales call. I use it for email creation, for follow-up. What phase two is going to be is where you will have a human that will have agents on their team. And the agents will join as digital colleagues, and they will take on specific tasks at the human's direction. And then finally, in phase three, you'll have human-led agent-operated teams. So humans will have entire teams of agents that they will lead, and those agents will execute business processes and workflows, and they'll check in and they'll inform the human when they're done, the status, but they will actually perform and execute those processes on behalf of the human. So 53, and how do we get to this point? How do we make sure that as a business that we're ready or capable of even doing this type of autonomy? So 53% of leaders say productivity must increase, but 80% of the workforce say that they're lacking enough time and energy to do their work. So everyone know, if you ask a leader, should productivity increase? Yes. If you ask the employees, do they have enough time to do their work? No. That's a common problem. Very simple, right? So what's going to happen is employees will start to turn to AI for things that humans can't provide. 24/7 availability, unlimited capacity, endless stream of ideas on demand. There's no fear of judgment. AI will say something. If it's wrong, it's wrong. They don't care. There are no feelings that get hurt, or people might not feel comfortable in, saying things out loud. And then also just, the demands of working on a team and working with other humans and interacting with humans and doing your job and doing politics and doing your day job. So all of these different things that are happening, this is where humans will turn to AI to get a break from that. And really it's a mindset shift. And so what we really want to do is unlock when we realize that it's not a tool, but it's actually a team member that can go out and do things for us. That's going to be kind of that breaking point for the agents. So who are going to be the leaders that are ahead of the game? And these are the characteristics from a leadership perspective that if you are displaying these indicators, you will already be ahead of the game. So, if you have a people problem, you will have an AI problem. As multiple agent systems refine the workplace, the challenge will be to integrate and manage them securely and effectively. So you want to make sure that, you're doing regular AI usage. You've got familiarity with agents, which check on that because you're attending this. You want to trust AI. And you want to expect to manage agents. You want to have that mindset that this is going to happen. And you want to use AI as a thought partner and a career accelerator. And so if you're doing all of these things today, you will be positioned well to be able to work in this agent world. All right, so what are some real world examples and use cases? Accounting, you have invoices to reconcile and flag anomalies. In marketing, you can have it run campaigns and adjust budgets automatically. So if you're not seeing our ROI in a certain channel, you can have it flagged where you make the decision. You can have it automatically correct it. Customer service for answers, routes and follow-ups, and then IT security. AI monitors systems, detects threats, and then patches issues automatically. So why now? We're really entering this era. We're in that transition period from chat to agents. And so the gap between AI users and non-AI users is really widening. And the businesses that start now will gain a compounding advantage. And early adoption does not equal risk. It's actually a competitive advantage. And what we are telling, everyone, and you'll see this, is AI isn't going to replace people, but people and businesses using AI will replace those that don't. So just some risks and guardrails around this. Really be careful with your data privacy, and we had talked about this in detail um, in the last session, in the last webinar. You want to give role-based access. Not AI, all AIs need full control. They don't need to be able to delete. Maybe they just need read access to the data. And then test everything. Test, test, test. Don't put anything into production unless you know exactly what the results will be. We've seen this happen. This is just a traditional IT a mantra. And then really at the end of the day, choose trusted vendors. Myself and Xvand, we are the ones that are going to have the smart and secure approach to what you're doing. So how do you get started really quickly? So the first thing to do is identify repetitive processes and really choose one department: marketing, operations, sales, and set clear and measurable goals. How do you measure success if you haven't set goals and you're not measuring? And then integrate within your existing stack. So whether it's CRM, email, your IT tools, and then finally partner with the experts. If you can do those things, that will get you that first step in making that agentic AI real. So here's a couple of examples of some tools. And this may not mean much to you. These are very specific examples. But if you have, if you're in workflows, ChatGPT and Zapier is a nice flow there. If you use CRM, HubSpot has built-in AI, as does Salesforce. And then you've got your Microsoft Copilot. If you're a Microsoft shop, you've got your Gemini, you've got your Claude, and these are starter tools for autonomous assistants as well. And really, what's the risk of doing nothing? You don't want to fall behind your competitors. You do not want to waste time and resources. You don't want to miss growth opportunities. And really, I think this is one that I think gets overlooked is the inability to compete for talent. When you're looking to hire people into your organization, especially younger tech savvy employees, they expect modern tools. And if you're not using AI, then you're not an attractive employer to them. And so you will miss out on younger talent. So you want to be able to attract that younger talent by showing them that you are on top of the AI game and that you have a plan and a strategy and a direction. And then, of course, security and compliance blind spots, because as AI is embedded in platforms, people are going to use it. And if you don't have a policy around the usage in your organization, people are going to use ChatGPT, and they may be putting in your data, your proprietary customer information into those platforms that now that is in the cloud. And so you really have to be careful. If you do nothing, you're risking at the very minimum security and compliance blind spots. And then just a quick freebie here. Every year, WSI, we survey small and medium businesses around their insights for the next upcoming year. What are they thinking about AI? What are they strategizing about AI? And then we put it and then we publish it so that everyone can see and you can kind of measure yourself against where people are in the trends and see where you fall in terms of your adoption, your thinking, what are your plans, what are your strategies for this in the coming year, and then you can kind of compare yourself to other small and medium businesses. So we're kind of coming towards the end here. I want to kind of wrap it up to make sure Andre has some time as well. So really, what is the future past agentic AI? Because we're kind of on the very beginning cusp of agentic AI. So what is after that? What I think is really going to be interesting is when agents are talking to each other and across silos and then across businesses. So think about this. If you could have an agent go and run a task on your behalf, would you ever go to a website and book an air flight ticket again if you could have an agent that just did that for you? So what that means is that businesses will run 24/7 and really bots will be talking to bots at that point. They'll just be answering each other and uh, completing workflows and transactions. And then human roles will evolve more towards creative and strategy and relationships versus worrying about execution of tasks. So here's, just a quick overview of how we do AI, or our AI adoption roadmap with our customers. Start with the policy. We go to training. We do deep dives. This is where we look at your processes and we dissect workflows and identify bottlenecks. Then based on that, we'll do some tool building. We'll select the tools for the maximum ROI based on the outcome that you're trying to achieve. And then we'll deploy that, integrate and train, upskill your employees. And then finally, we will help you set up an advisory council so that this is something that's ongoing in your organization so that you can always be updating your internal and external AI strategies and policies. So take the first step. If this is something that interests you, if you're interested in talking further about optimizing or using AI within your business, this is a QR code. This goes directly to my calendar. I'm going to go to the next slide because we're going to get to the end so I can hand this over to Andre. If this is something that you're interested, just reach out to Andre or I and we can get you scheduled for that. So we'll wait for after Andre has presented for questions. So I'll hand it over to Andre.
All right. Thank you, Barry. I think that was a great presentation. So thanks a lot. Very informative. To kind of build on that is, or to finalize, Microsoft actually says that their vision is that every human has a co-pilot and every process has an agent. So basically their idea is that Copilot is being used for, productivity improvements and, help for humans to actually make human decisions, but every process needs to be automated with AI. So that's basically how they see it going forward. All right. So AI is just so many different areas are covered by AI, and I wanted to actually go and talk about something that is not being talked a lot. This is mainly based on this group, the AI-driven leader by Jeff Woods. So most of the things I'm going to be talking about are from that book specifically, with some of my thoughts, but I really highly encourage everyone to get that book and either read it or listen to it. So the idea is that leaders are often stuck in operations because basically somebody needs to do it. But the main benefit of leaders is actually to come up with strategy and create a vision and create solution or vision for the company and what move companies forward. So the question is, how can we use AI to help us with that? AI has a tremendous processing power. That's basically the reason why we're talking about AI. AI can do what humans can't. From the processing standpoint, from the amount of information that it can look and come up with some kind of answer. Humans can do that, but AI is not a human. It can't think. It doesn't understand what's good for the company, what's good and bad in general and ethical sense, right? So that's why the humans are still relevant, and humans need to be leading the AI. The idea of humans again is to design things, to come up with the solutions, and AI should be used as a helper. So these are several things that AI can do for us. Automation is what Barry just covered, productivity and time saving, what was covered on the previous webinar. And this is going to be more about decision support, thought partnership, and continuous learning. This one is just, again, is a quick summary of what AI can do, what we talked so far: summarize calls, automate tasks, and agents handle all the processes, what was covered by Barry. But what it will actually help SMBs is to grow without, and be basically open for SMBs ability to grow to enterprise level without scaling the sales force. And that's, I think, a very important consideration that, with all the automation and help that AI can bring, is ability for smaller companies to, to start doing so much more. This was one of the main things that the book talks about, and I think it's a very important thing, is really a mind shift. And the mind shift is really start asking questions instead of how can I do that, start asking how can AI help me do it, because that's it really changes changes your approach. And again, you can start as small as, with tasks as small as writing an email or analyzing the data, and going to bigger tasks as automation. But again, everybody needs to actually start asking these questions for whatever they are doing, and start seeing how AI can help. One thing to note here is that AI is not necessarily silver bullet, right? You will hit some times when it will produce stupid answers, and you will feel that you wasted so much time and you didn't get anything done. So it happened to me. It will happen, but if you continue using it and you learn how to actually interact with AI, your results will get better and better, and you will get more and more things that you can accomplish. So again, AI can do so many things and so quickly, but as a leader, you really need to be working with it as a thought. You need to be a thought leader, and then AI can be used as a thought partner. Okay, so the very important thing with AI, probably the most important, is actually ability to build prompts. And prompt is basically the question for AI on what you're asking it to do. So the book talks about this CREATE framework, and in that structure, context, role, and task are the standard things that need to be part of every prompt, regardless of what you do, because you need to tell AI what is actually happening, and then give it a task. At least content and a task has to be. The role is a very interesting thing where you can tell AI to act as that specific role. I'm going to have several examples later. But what's the new thing that came from this book for me is the interview thing. So the idea is that you can actually ask AI to interview you to get the right information and then produce a result. So again, we're going to go through several examples, and you will see how it actually works. So I was debating on maybe doing the live demo, but I thought that it would take a lot of time, and so this is just, so I'm just going to go through several examples on prompts, and I'm going to encourage everyone to actually on your own, try and play with this, and try to go to AI and start, asking things that are relevant to your business. So this example is about decision support example, and I just used like a wealth management and trust company as a company. So the goal here is to use AI as a compliance and risk advisor to explore how to safely adopt AI in the firm. So the content, our wealth management firm wants to explore using AI tools in the client advisory workflows, but must comply with SEC and FINRA rules. The role, you are a senior compliance and risk advisor familiar with financial services regulations. You can do that. AI has now so much information that you can assign a lot of different roles to it. So, interview. Ask me one question at a time about our data handling, documentation, approval process before giving advice. And AI will, and then the task after you understand, outline 3 compliant use cases where AI could assist advisors while maintaining client confidentiality and audit readiness. When you hit enter, AI will start interviewing you. You can also tell it how many questions you wanted to ask. You can say, ask me one question at a time, and ask me like 10 questions, one question at a time to determine, right? And that's again, it's a very interesting concept where it actually, instead of you coming up with everything, it will, because you assign a role for it, as an expert in that role, it will start interviewing you, asking you questions, and then coming up with the answer. Another one is how to use AI to analyze operations and suggest efficiency improvements. Again, for contents, the organization manages multiple community grants and donor programs and is struggling with reporting deadlines and manual data entry. Role, you are an operation consultant specializing in nonprofits and credit unions. Ask me one question at a time about our current process and bottlenecks. And once you have enough information, recommend 3 areas where AI automation could save time without risking accuracy or donor trust. Another example, engineering firm, how to use AI to streamline project reporting and compliance documentation. Again, the content is that we are an engineering firm, state-funded construction projects that require weekly progress and compliance reports. You are a project management experience specifically in the public sector documentation and Texas DPS compliance requirements. Again, ask me one question at a time, about our current templates, sources, review cycle, and fully understand our workflow. And after you do, create a draft report template automation outline to collect updates and generate weekly summaries for humans to review. So again, I just picked several industries that, some of our clients aren't there, but in reality, again, I encourage you to try to play with this on your own. So AI as a leadership coach, so that's something that, as a leader, we can go to expensive coaches, but I think part of what AI is going to do is going to replace a lot of professions, or at least some lower end of these professions as we know it, right? So as a business coach, so I lead a growing technical team, want to improve my leadership habits, and especially these ones. You are an executive coach trained on this. Ask me and interview me how I manage my team, how I get involved operationally, and what I find hard to delegate. After you understand, come up with a solution or suggest me what I can do better. And the last example in this is continuous learning. So the goal is, in a lot of cases, the goal is to get training, right? For either for ourselves or for our employees. And this is, again, I want to help my management team improve decision making. So I specify what is it that you're trying to do. You are the leadership development advisor who builds custom learning plans. Interview me, and then design a 4-week micro-learning plan with activities and some practice scenarios and prompts. So for to get to this frontier form that Barry was talking about, you really need to start with yourself as a leader, because somebody has to be pioneering this and making and bringing it to the company. But then the next thing is to actually bring to more and more people in the company. So this is about building an AI ready culture. So the idea is that with putting all the guardrails about security and other things, you want to normalize AI across different roles. You want to celebrate experimentation, share prompt wins. So that's again about writing the prompts and possibly building a shared prompt library across, the roles for specific roles. The guardrails, Barry talked about guardrails in that apply to what he says, but this is a little more general. So first of all, humans are accountable regardless of what they do, right? It's not, you don't want anyone to say, I gave me that answer, that's why I did it. So that's not how it should work. Humans are accountable. All the inputs are has to be verified. This is really about AI hallucinations. This happens all the time. The idea here is whatever the output that you get from AI, you want you want to come back to it and say, please cite your sources. Tell me where you got in this wrong, because everything needs to be. AI is not really thinking, right? It's a predicting machine. It doesn't really know what it's giving you. The only thing that it tries to do, it tries to please you. So it will give you the answers that we are looking for, but they are not necessarily true. So verifying information is very important, and trained judgment here is, again, it's basically the same. The same thing is that everybody on your team should be trained to have a critical view on what AI reports, and then protect the data. So to summarize, AI can be used for so many different things: productivity, automation, but decision support and learning, that's where a lot of the value comes from, because again, it will help you come up with things that you might not even think about. It can give you 10 different solutions for what you're trying to do. Out of these 10, 3 could be ridiculous or not important. Probably the other 6 is something that you thought about, but there is a high chance that there will be one that you didn't think about. And that might really open up the other possibilities and basically give you a lot more to think about, or help you come up with some strategies. So you want to build systems, not tasks. That's again automation mostly, and lead with values. So you really want to, as a leader, you want to really make sure that AI usage is ethical. So that's all I had. The book really has a lot more examples. It talks a lot more about how using AI for decision making, and as a thought partner, it helped a lot of companies to get to the next level that they didn't think was possible. So again, highly encourage everyone to read the book. And I want to kind of finish this with just this thought, right? What's one decision or process AI could help you with this month? So just think about it. We can, discuss it here, but the more important is just to on your spare time, just think about it, and I'm sure you will come up with something that you can start. Again, the main thing is to just start and see where it takes you. So that's all I have. And now we are ready for any questions and answers if anybody has any.
You did such a good job. That was great, Andre.
Thank you. All right. Well, I think we are. No, we have actually 4 minutes. So, if anybody, um,
Andre and Barry, thank you so much. It was great and it was helpful. So, what do you think? What size of businesses, like for a small business, how they can use AI, like and all these tools to actually to grow?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think that as a small business or a solopreneur starting today, AI really allows you to do a lot of things that you would still be able to do. It just takes a lot less time. So I'll give you an example for myself as a digital marketing agency. In the past, it would take us, maybe 8 hours to create ICP, which is customer persona. And now with AI, we can do a 30-minute meeting with the customer and then take the transcript, put it into the AI tool, and then the PDF output is generated. Within 5 minutes, we review it, we edit it, we modify it, we can get it out the same day to the customer. So it's allowing owners to scale and to who embrace AI and actually who are using it in their processes to do a lot more and then focus on either business development or strategy rather than spending time performing those operational tasks. So I think that's where small, if you're a plumber, at the end of the day, you're still going to go out and fix pipes. But what AI will change is how do you acquire the customers? How do you interact with the customers? How do you, how your back end operations in your office? That's where AI is going to have the impact for those type of small businesses.
Okay, great. Thank you. You gave me an idea, Thank you.
you can think about it as an outsourcing, right? So you outsource, for example, technology. You outsource to a managed service provider, right? You outsource uh, possibly accounting to a company that does accounting. But and you need to be thinking about outsourcing some of the things that you do to AI. It's not necessarily the specific area because it can actually touch a lot of different areas. But the idea is the same. It gives you ability, it gives you back time to work on what's more important to the company, to the business, or to you yourself on the personal life, right? So it's
And I can give a real quick example of that. A small business that I'm working with, they're an attorney, and so it's the attorney and her legal assistant, and that's it. And so they have to do everything. And so the legal assistant is in charge of inbound calls, also outbound calls. So if one of their customers is coming in and they need documents, they need to bring documents. They have to call and remind them. If they haven't paid, they have to call and remind them. So all of this stuff, we said, well, let's automate this. Let's do voice AI, and all the calling, all the outbound calling that your personal assistant is doing now, we'll have AI do it. And so we'll create an AI voice assistant that will call anyone when they meet a certain criteria in terms of how far away are they from their meeting and what are the documents that they need to bring, and we'll do a reminder call. And these are very simple tasks that we're outsourcing to AI that now the legal assistant can focus on research and helping existing customers. And then also then this is returning revenue because things don't fall through the cracks anymore. They don't forget to call someone. They don't forget to collect, a certain account. All of it's automated. So it's already just returning on their investment.
Yeah. Also, I want to say thank you to Andre, with this interview process, I've never thought to use AI that they're gonna ask me questions, not me,
right.
it's great, because when I use absolutely a simple version, and I've never thought like AI need to learn more about myself, like what I need, what the firm is, and I already noticed, the AI that I use already kind of created my profile, knows what I do, what is my interest,
Right.
who uh, I work with and how do I work. It's really interesting, like how like we interact.
Right. But what's important there is to not to forget to define the role, right? Because the questions that it's going to ask should be, it should know who it acts as, right? So it not a general AI, but it's, if you're trying to figure out something specific, then make sure it knows that it should be acting as an expert in this specific area. And then it should be interviewed, because you don't want to be interviewed by, someone. You want to be interviewed by an
Absolutely.
expert. So that's an important thing. All right. What I want to say, it's 2:47, so we're 2 minutes over. We can definitely stay longer, but anyone who is on a tight schedule, thank you very much for attending, and we are planning to continue this and doing more of the webinars on AI, because both me and Barry, we believe that this is a very important thing that is happening right now. I think to me, it's really a revolution that is happening. It is slow to start, but I think that in 5 years, we're all going to be living in a completely different world that we can't even imagine right now. But it really is going to change a lot of things, and businesses and personal. It's going to touch every area.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for your attendance.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.